What's up, everybody? How's it going? And welcome to the Marbles Podcast. We're here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So our friend is in the deserts grinding sand. So it's just me and Standard today. How's everybody doing? How is everyone doing? So today we're thinking of doing something different since our friend is away. We're thinking about having an open forum with you guys and just chatting about marbles, everything that's been going on, the events, the game, the feel. Like, what do you guys feel about it? You guys can chime in. We could all have an open discussion for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
If that sounds like something you guys are interested in.
Yeah. Are you guys down for that kind of thing? Because I'd love to hear kind of where your thoughts are. We've got the app is up on Apple now as well.
Yeah.
And something that I was thinking of just as we were going live too is I would love to hear from the community. Like, you guys have been, and I want to say thank you, by the way. You guys have been really supportive of some of this other content. I have been directly working very heavily on other things that I can be bringing you. We've got the podcast rolling. The next thing is, as you guys know, is I'm going to be bringing the classes back as well. And it looks like I'm going to actually start doing those on Tuesday nights. Been kind of going over some things, and it looks like that's where I'm going to focus the classes. But are there other things that we could be doing? Are there other ideas that you've had for things that we could be bringing to you to help you out even further? So
Yeah.
Your thoughts are not safe for work?
Oh, child.
But Spooo got lost in the desert, Scotty, exactly. But, and it's something else that I've been thinking about, too, is that a lot of times when we do the podcast, we don't focus very heavily on chat. It's just us up here talking. So
yeah, definitely not on recent episodes.
But would love to know, like what's on your thoughts? How are you guys feeling about everything? We need a search party.
I sent him a text.
Yeah.
He's grinding sand, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
Well, yeah, we were just talking about that, the growth of the category, the growth of marbles currently, how there's just a lot of action.
Mm-hmm.
And, with that going on, how do you guys feel in the community about everything? And is there anything, is there anything we could do better? Is there anything we can provide more? Is there things that are missing? Can the bots do more?
No. Yeah, I think interacting with chat is a great idea. Royal Emerson, how are you? Welcome in. It is good to see you. Oh man. I'm just looking. So everybody, seriously, what's on your mind? Help me, help you, Enders. Exactly. Help me, help you. I can't yell right now. The mistress already slammed the door because I was being too loud, I think. So I think this season's going really well. Super busy, lots of new people. Yes, everybody. By the way, how are you all handling all the new people coming into your channels, and how has this been for you so far? It's been mind-boggling for us. I can tell you that. There are tons of new people. Yes, there are tons, and they've been. I have noticed that for, outside of the people that'll come into your channel to intentionally troll, but you're always going to see that with a lot of new people, like the actual new people that are coming in that are interested in the game and want to play have been incredible.
Yeah.
They've been willing to jump right in. They've been super friendly, very kind. It's like these are people out there that didn't know that a community like this existed on Twitch, and now they figured it out.
Yeah.
And a lot of, when I say nice people, like out of your way nice, they come in, they're very chatty at the beginning, where a lot of times new viewers are not. They just want to get in and get involved, or a lot of times, Mike, a phenomenon that I've been seeing is that they've already spent time in another channel.
Right.
And they were treated so kindly that they're automatically assuming that everybody else is too, which is a
Right.
really good thing. That's a really positive thing. Like they come in and they're already talking to me. They're already being open right off the bat. And I don't know, have you seen a lot of that in
There's a lot of
your streams
activity.
or?
Yeah, like there's just so many new people coming in. I get a lot of questions, of course, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever I mention energy, because I'm going kind of quick when we talk about energy, is like you get a lot of questions. What's energy? What's the how does that work? And yeah, like I've been telling you, I've been trying to fine tune like how I kind of say it and like make it better and better. And it's been like crazy doing that. Of course, the last couple of days with the tournament and everything, we've been busy with that, which is a whole nother thing. Like doing the tournaments and seeing everybody get excited for a big event.
Oh my God, yeah, and so many tournaments too, so many.
Oh, tournament kits as well, yeah.
I was looking at the calendar again, and I don't think I've ever seen the calendar look like this.
No, we sold out everything. Well, Andrew sold everything in April, so all the.
Yeah, let me. I enjoy it. I'm finding people just discovering marbles. It's really fun to give tips and suggestions. It's nice to be one of the experts, right? You know, to be somebody with a little bit of experience that can share it. It's been awesome hanging out and helping new players, seeing a few get affiliate. Yeah, we have. You know what, Tiara? That's a great point. We've seen a lot of new affiliates popping up. A lot of new affiliates. I actually have somebody in my community right now that hit it with marbles, and they've reached out to me for some advice from the business side of it because they're not sure. They're in the kind of position that they're not sure they want to go affiliate. So I'm going to have some advice for them on that. But yeah, there's been a lot. There's been a lot of new affiliates coming in. Susie, lots of fun, friendly new people. It's great. I'm not a streamer, but loving all the new people and faces. Well, and you know what it is? It's the other thing too, Chide, is everybody is starting to. I'm getting a sense, and maybe it's just because where I'm personally at as well, Mike, but I'm starting to get that sense of relax a little bit. Like everybody's starting to settle in,
right,
a little bit, you know, and it's like we have a lot of new faces in, and it's like everybody's rising to the challenge, but we're able to do so in a very gentle way.
Yeah.
And it's been really good. It's been really good.
Yeah, except for that energy system. So my opinion is they never will.
Yeah.
No matter what system it becomes, they will never enjoy the grind because they're playing the game at the scale it's just not meant to be played. Right? And the system honestly is as a system now. It's something that limits, and you know, if you're not having fun with it, don't do that. Like that's really the way it is now. It's like number one, it's that bug's got to go away because there's no clean opinions about the energy system if there's a bug, because the opinions will always be staggered by to deter on the viewer side. Don't make it fun to be in 100 channels. Make it limiting and fun if you just play with the streamers and enjoy the small part of it.
Yeah,
because we're a small community, right? And there's a lot of people who play marbles, but the marbles community is nice and small. And you know, it's tough. It's tough to make a perfect system. But I'm slowly leaning in the direction of you can't constantly react. And holy cow, you can't constantly react to the negativity. Because I did that for almost a year. I paid attention to the negativity that was coming in, and I let it control the content of the game. And it reflected in the stats. I could pull up if you pull up Twitch Tracker and show the monitor, the screen of the data of marbles, the category, you can see the downfall, you can see the point. And when you create your game towards the people who are not liking it, you're turning it into a game that they're not going to like, and nobody's going to like it. And that's what happened. And then the people at the top end of the category all mad and hate the game, but they're the top representatives of the game. All the new people coming in see those people come in, see all the negativity, bounce.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and it becomes a cycle. Yeah, exactly.
And now what we've been focusing on is building the game that we think is the funnest way that it can be played and promote the health of streams. And the past 3 seasons, you can see it in the data. This season was probably very heavily skewed by everything going on, but it still looked very positive.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
You can look as negatively as you want towards the energy system, but what you can say now is the people at the top of the category are positive people. They're streaming the game in a positive way, welcoming people, telling people about the game, and it becomes a funnel for people that are like that coming into the community, into Marbles, playing the game, maybe once, maybe...
Chide, I stopped grinding and I'm enjoying the stream so much more now. It's like I'm actually having fun. Who would have known? And you know, here's the thing. Like, you know, and I'll say it here again now, okay? The reason that people hate the energy system is because they're trying to use it in a way that was not intended. And every time you take any system like that and use it in a way that is not intended, it is going to fight you back. It is just reality. All right. So when you're trying to fight against a system that is fighting you, yeah, you're going to complain. You're going to be having a terrible time with it. But that's because that's the way it wasn't designed to work. It's because they wanted to see what was going on during the Tilted tournament and all that. And that, you know, that side of it, I totally get. But it gets to the point where you've got 20 windows open, guys. You're not having fun with it. It's no longer fun. Or, you know, in some cases, people are just opening up nothing but chats. They have a whole bunch of chats open and they wait for somebody to type play for the first time, and then they try to follow suit that way. And they're trying to get into races, and you know, in that sense. And it gets, you know, that part of it gets rough. That's the you know, that's the darker side, and that's not what we want. We want everybody being able to be out there, be involved in the communities they're with, actually hang out. Streamers do need to be supported, you know, and that's part of this too, is that, you know, when you've got 20 tabs open, nobody, you're not having any fun and nobody's getting any support from it on top of it. So you got to keep that in mind. And that's just it. The energy system roping that in and limiting that back, where, you know, at most you're going to have, you know, 5 tabs open or something like that. That was what that was designed to do, you know? So Scotty Z, like, you're just complaining for no reason. Wait a minute. What did Scotty say? Oh, I'd
This app, Android app, there is another app planned for Windows 10 with same content. Like for the PC version. Yeah, we want to add the view.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
let me. I'm just trying to scroll back up and
it's
catch up a little bit.
you know, it's a challenge. You know, developing a game for this goal, for the goal to promote streams and build streams and make them better and layer with them properly. And yeah, I feel like I've learned a lot along the way, and we just want to like make a better product that promotes the positivity instead of like paying. Like the more you pay attention, and this goes so, like, I could talk about this even deeper. There's a post in the suggestions about map voting, and how, you know, there's troll votes out there, right? The negative votes are troll votes, sure, but that applies to everything. Like, you know, look at a YouTube video, you know, and it has down votes.
Oh yeah.
And you know, you're gonna look at them and say, oh, it's troll votes. Oh, you know, like all the reviews on Steam, they're just troll votes. All the negative reviews, they're just troll reviews. Yeah. It's up to you to process that information and make a decision on whether you're going to change your content or not, right? Because you're always gonna have opinionated people in your chat, right? Commenting on your craft, and it's up to you to take that information and do with it as you need or as you want. Yeah. You know, make new content, change your content, or don't, and believe in what you're doing. Yep. And I think that's huge. It's a huge standpoint to realize, is that you're in control, and it's up to you to use the information at your fingertips And just going back to the troll voting thing is like, sure, but there's always going to be that out there.
Yeah.
So it's up to you to filter it and think on it with your own 2 feet and go, okay, how am I going to react to this? Is it 50% negative? Do I need to do something? You know, like, do I want my content to be more appealing or do I not?
Yeah. Yeah. Something I want to address along those lines, and this keeps coming up in chat. People's tiers when they may be tired, etc. And in many cases, doing it for racers who may not even care about the tiers. The other comment that was being made is like profanity type. Well, how do you stop troll votes? You're talking about troll voting and all that. What I want to say to all of this is that at some point, and I've taught this in classes before, and I'm going to be teaching it again once I get the classes going again. It's your stream. All right. And a lot of times people are so willing to release powers to others, basically, because they're just trying to keep somebody happy, or they expect the game to take care of it or whatever. But at the end of the day, at the end of the line, it is your stream. You are in control of it. I have never once allowed anybody to come into my stream and pressure me into running more races. When because I'm always, and for me, it's a matter of just keeping a rigid schedule. It's like, tonight we're going to be done at say 7 p.m. Eastern. And once we're done, we're done. I'm not going to add more races to that. But then again, you're talking to somebody that built the community on the community. Like I never chased points. I never went after, top as either a streamer or as a racer. I just love the game, and I was building more of a community around that. The closest I ever got to grinder culture was when I was running 1 minute 30-second timers in between races, which I stopped doing because I realized that we weren't talking as much as we were before. We weren't connecting as much as we were before. But as streamers, there's nothing that can really be done outside of teaching the individual streamers that you shouldn't let other people dictate what goes on your stream. You have to take responsibility for that. You have to take control of it and say, I'm sorry, but this is as many as I'm doing today. Whether you're at your 10, whether you're at your 20, whether you're at your 35. Again, you just have to be willing to say that. Same thing when it comes to troll votes. I'll actually watch. If I have somebody new come wandering in to my stream and they're voting no on every single track, I will actually say something to them if I see that going on. And there have been a couple of times where I haven't banned anybody for it, but I've timed them out and said, I noticed that you're constantly voting nay, and I know you're doing it just to vote nay all the time, kind of thing. So you're welcome to your opinion. You're welcome to vote openly, but I see what you're doing. Could you like stop doing that, or could you not do that? And most time people come right around.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
Do you do that if somebody's always voting yes?
If somebody's always voting to the positive, if I see consistent voting, actually, no, Mike, honestly, no. I was going to get into a big long explanation about it, but if I see yes constantly, if I see no constantly, especially, and usually it's triggered by, you'll see it triggered by a newer viewer, but they're always pumping out no's all the time. Most people will balance. Most people will vote up or vote down, depending on what they're doing. If I see yes all the time, some people just like the track just for whatever the track is, but that's something that I would actually have to rethink. You make a good point.
I asked that on a stream, and I honestly can't remember where it was, and I was just like, do you treat the yay sayers, the overall yay sayers, the same way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's an interesting conversation.
Yeah. No, and you make it
yay or nay. There could be always those people, and that's why I say you can't focus on those ones. It has to be ignored at scale. You just look at it and go, okay, my track is this rated, and everybody else is under the same system. So it's not like anybody's being truly trolled if it's happening at scale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's a good. You've got me on the spot. Like you've
So I
got you
can
completely
receive.
got me on the spot on that one. It's yeah, and I don't. There's no direct answer. I have no direct answer to that. Because you focus on. You can tell that what I don't like, and you know where it comes from for me. Like here's where the streamer comes from. Right? It's like I've been so much in the track builder's corner for so long. I almost feel like maybe it becomes a protective thing with me at this point. Like I want them kept safe. Because I love them. So how dare you come in and troll me with a bunch of no votes? And that's probably where that comes from. But you do make a great point.
Well, and let me
they're
put it in
focusing on
perspective
it.
as well. I
Yeah.
can't even like say, oh, like I would do very different, because I don't. Because you can put it in the perspective of opinions towards the game. It's like
Yeah.
there's always people, regardless of what I do in the game, they're going to be supportive towards what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing. It's being a creative, and you're always going to have your supporters, and you're
Yeah.
going to have the people who don't like you either. And there's nothing wrong with that. And
Yeah.
we often put the positive on a pedestal and focus on it, or we do it the other way around. We don't often go, okay, like everything is equal, and it's just opinions.
Yeah. Yeah. It's much harder to detect because a majority of viewers react positively to the track because they just enjoy the game overall. Yeah. Yeah, Tim. And that's another great point too. And there's people that would rather, honestly, there are people that when they're voting, they vote. I want to say it's almost like they vote on automatic.
Right.
So they're trying to be nice, and they would rather just fact that really is, because it's either impossible for the streamer to follow, or it's like everybody dies,
Right.
unexpectedly or something like that. That you'll actually see a whole bunch of negativity towards the track, but that's rare. That's rare because the way that the map builder is now, most tracks are runnable,
Right.
at least.
Yeah.
Enough marbles finished, people get their points, whatever. So you don't think too much about it. Like Nays used to get really reserved for the tracks we couldn't complete, and that's less and less of a problem all the time. Which is one of the great things about the builder is it gives you more bravery as a streamer to actually go try those tracks out.
Right.
Because especially when you're dealing with longer tracks, like if you're going to run a 6-minute track, people better be able to finish it.
Right.
And that's where a lot of that comes from. Sometimes I vote it up just because I can respect how much time went into it. Yeah, Susie, and that's it too. You may not be a huge fan of the track, but you can look at it and go, yeah, somebody put some real work into that.
Yeah, you respect the work or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's another thing. Like you can find different ways to vote it up, and then you can also find different reasons to vote it down too. And just that whole thinking is like, if you get away the perspective of there's troll votes out there, just believe that people have different opinions out there.
Yeah.
And they're all bringing their 2 cents. And just to clarify, this isn't me trying to create an excuse not to make a better system. I actually want to rework it and add more. But I'm just saying, like, you could find the reasons of like, oh yeah, it needs to be redone and da 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 da, or just work with the system that it is now, and think beyond all the negativity and just do you.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that nay is an important mechanism when you legitimately find something is wrong with a track. But I've seen streamers saying that they are going to ban timeout people who make a single no vote. Oh, Scotty, no. Oh no. No. When for me, like from my perspective, when I've run 10 races and I've watched that person vote no every single time, I'm like, because I'm sitting there watching for that. I'm sitting there watching for trolls. But that goes back to the conversation we just had again. It's like and it's a good point. Maybe just let that all go and just keep rolling, because something else we talked about before we came on was how negativity in your chat and negativity in your stream actually brings you down as a streamer, and how distracting that becomes, and how it pulls away from the quality of the things that you want to do. And if you want to have a better stream, if you want to have a more effective stream, you need to let that stuff go. There's always things in your chat that you're going to need to take care of as a streamer, whether it's trolls or keeping an eye on it and being interactive or whatever. But when you allow yourself to get distracted from that purpose, it actually does hurt your content. So yeah.
Let me dive into this solution idea that I've been thinking on for the voting system. So everybody's had this idea, like what Lug said, right? 1 to 5, give us a scale, let us put notes, blah 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 blah, and there's lots of ideas, but a lot of them create a very complex system because if you want to give reviews and everything, fine what we want to be truly considered a good track, right? So we put these things on a pedestal. And what are these things? These notes. And so, like, instead of a vote yes or no, a vote 1 through 9 will come up, and you'll have 9 options that are there. And it could be more, it could be less. But you start off with, and they're comments. So, like, too short, too long, good length, nice race. And you have, like, a lot of these short statements, and we assign values to those. And whatever those values are, and the votes come in. So you would vote for one of those options. So you vote for one of those options, and then there's a score value that gets added to the rating, and then that's how a track is rated. And then this way, the track builder will get the feedback and a rating at the same time, and it'll be like this wrapped up system that's very simple for chat to see, absorb, and vote on.
That would be awesome. Good length. I've gotten that review before. Of what you said too, like where you can actually, where the builders can tag, and that's been brought up several times.
I have that in the notes. Yeah, like cinematic, like little tags. What if there was tags that were assigned based off of a value?
Oh.
So like if somebody always vote, like if you go like good black lights effects or whatever, you could vote that, and then it would auto know that it's a blacklight track, and because somebody could make a blacklight track and flag it as blacklight, and it's not blacklight.
Yeah, something that's been brought up several times, Mike, and I've never talked to you about it directly. I've seen it pop up in the Discord, things like that, though, and it would be a really cool feature if we could ever build it in up the road, with us having so much control over the cameras and the different looks. We could accomplish if someday a track builder could actually also carry camera settings.
Yeah, so I've got that idea where
as well.
If you when you would open up the camera settings, each track would have your loadouts plus suggested.
Oh, okay.
So you would like click, you would like open the track, you go, oh, it's a cinematic track or whatever. You open up the camera settings, and there'd be suggested settings. So the track builders would define that for the track.
That would. Okay, that one will look better with the blue tint on it. That one would look better if you used the black light settings but left it clear. Like, oh, that the orange tint makes that one look a little funny. It's like if we could just like make that all go away, and yeah, you could actually go in there and look at, like you said, suggested settings would be great.
Exactly.
Then people, there's so many tracks that I've seen get voted down heavily, especially when we first started doing the black light tracks. So many of those tracks got voted down because people didn't realize there were certain settings to use for those.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was unfair to the builders, and they're trying to build these tracks that looked great under different circumstances, but your average person would run it, and I understood why. Your average person would run it, and they'd look at it and go, well, I can't see half this track.
Exactly.
There was, so, and a lot of that's changed too. The lighting, because in the builder, the lighting is so much better now. It's easier to control, and so a lot of that went away just from that as well. But still, it would be nice if, or if I uploaded a track and I wanted it to be in like black and white, like here's those recommended settings. But yeah, it would be a great feature. That would be a really great feature.
Yeah, that's why I'm always frustrated. I'm like, I want to redo the builder because there's just it's a massive system now that can be wrapped up and just built into this bigger beast that we can do more with.
Yeah, absolutely. I had to bother Hedry for the settings. Yep, Hedry. Let me see here real quick. Somebody said, I noticed people would just not run the black light tracks. If they selected one, they would just switch to a non-black light track. Yeah, that was Tron. That went on for a little while. That's getting better because there's ways that there are ways now to do those black light tracks, but still make them perfectly runnable under different lighting conditions. So that has gotten better, but that's something, again, that suggestion system would absolutely help with.
Yeah, General Whack has to be cautious of that. And that's why I don't like the idea of like hand typing stuff in. Like maybe eventually we could have a partnered builder, but even then, like their account could get hacked, and then like you just don't want that kind of stuff popping up on even one streamer's stream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are so many things that would be fun little ideas, but you've got to remember, and again, you always, like, if you want an example, think about some of what goes on when you watch streamers play something like Jackbox, where people can draw or write in whatever some of the things that can happen when you start allowing people to put whatever they want into notes or anything like that. It can get a little crazy, and you just don't want to get into that.
Not saying that I don't want to. We have to find a clean way to make it happen.
Yeah. On energy, it is up to the players to track the energy from the streamers. Well, and you know what? And Frack, what's gone on now is for a long time, there wasn't a way for the racers to track it.
Right.
Per individual streamer. Now there is. And both Apple and Android have that. But for a long time, and yes, it did get frustrating from the
to give the energy system a chance by supporting it with the app and giving the more information to the players so that they can lean into the energy and actually use it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just see it becoming better and better.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps people engaged on the app, which is obviously good for business. The shop rotates, right?
Yeah.
So that's strong. It keeps people engaged with the game. They have more tie to their marble. Plus they have more of that story idea, right? Where like you have your energy spent in these streams, you can always go back if they're live and continue. And I think it's just it continues the engagement of the game, which is something that we lacked before.
Yeah. And it's really the new app redesign, Mike, is just, and I know I've said this to you already, but it's absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. When I went in there and when it finally came available on Android and I was able to get it downloaded and actually play around with it a bit.
Yeah.
Just all the customization, it goes back to like really being able to make it personal. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I can set this up. I have all these alternatives now,
right?
That I can set up, and it came up actually in my stream yesterday, and I thought it was a really good point. Again, they're like, well, if I enter with the emotes, does it still enter with the emote marble? And now it's not, and it was something that hadn't struck me before, but if you're subscribed, because a lot of people are, they're subscribed to you, they're subscribed to Spooo or myself, right, or whoever the streamer of the, of the season is. But it's like having a bag of marbles now everywhere you go. It's like, right now I want to run one of the pixel marbles, or I want to run standards marble, or I want to run Spoo's barrel, or I'm going to go through the app and I'm going to use that marble that I have set up. And I love seeing, I'm actually watching, it's really cool. We're watching certain people's marbles evolve.
Yeah.
Like they get the skin they want, more control over it. And yeah, no, it's been really awesome. When you have an app that has become so popular so quickly that you have people installing BlueStacks just so because they don't have an Android phone that can work it or whatever, just so they can use it. And that's awesome.
That's great. The guys did a really good job with it. Because obviously, once it leaves my hands, it's just design, and then the guys take it and do their work, magic.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's so awesome that everybody's enjoying it. And there are optimizations. We want to get you to be able to like rotate the ball and stuff with your fingers, so you can inspect it more, basically.
Yeah.
And it's all on the way. It's all plans to launch
awesome.
in there. Yeah.
It was great. If I can say anything, is I don't feel.
So, did you have something? Or?
No, it's just saying that there. He said that there weren't as many options for effect. I know some change hourly, but it felt like there were more options on the. Well, okay, here, Coop. Here's what happened, and this is something that we've learned along the way with those, is that when you give people too many options, they don't know what to do. So in the old version of the app, yes, you had access to every single trail, every single entrance, every single exit, except, outside of the ones, of course, that you could win exclusively, but they were always there for purchase. And what happens, and just about every developer I've ever seen that has a store system like that has to do this, is you start limiting it back so that it's on like a rotating store, because otherwise you've got so many options in your face that you miss some of those options. And more importantly, you're going to miss options. Disaster was Little Big Planet. You would go into that store, and by the time you got to Little Big Planet 3, they had all of the options, all of the levels that you could purchase for all of the games, and sorting through it was a mess. If they would have limited that back so that you could, so that you had a few options each time, you could have actually seen a little bit better what was going on. Like, there were things that I personally would have purchased in that game had I known they were there, but there was so much on the screen, right, I didn't know there was there. And we one of the things that I've talked to a lot of our OGs about is that we have to remember that, because we've been around since season 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, we've been there for each change, so we're used to it. We know what's new and what's not, and it just kind of rolls that way. But with so many people coming in brand new, looking at any kind of store like that, whether it's on the app or whether it's in the game, it's insanity.
Yeah.
There's just too much there. So having the daily rotation of all the new stuff.
If you watch I'm sure there's clips out there of me saying, like, I don't want to limit the shop because it allows you to go in there and pick what you want.
Mm-hmm.
But it just didn't work. It didn't create the revenue we need to become a company to run this full time.
Yeah.
And what we've learned is you guys like this full time. So I personally need to scope this project to be able to pay the guys who are involved for long term, as opposed to thinking next month. Let's just pay the bills. And like, it's unrealistic, right? And we were at the point last year of actually, like, the end. Like, we were struggling hard. Yeah. And with all these turns and all the changes, it's proven to help us to re-solidify and actually think about the future now, which is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things that, it's one of those things that you learn as you go, you know, and yeah, that was one of those, it was a big stepping stone. And it took like for me, again, just speaking personally, I looked at the store before, and yeah, it's a little bit, at first it was like, oh, there aren't as many things there anymore. They're not as readily available. But now it becomes, it's like DevMoose said it too. It's almost like gamifying it a little bit. It's like, ooh, what's going to be in there this time? Right. Or what have I not seen before from past seasons? And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. And now for me, it's just become a game of, because I had so many skins even before I was community manager. I'm like, now I'm trying to find, and every once in a while one does pop up that I don't have, or a skin that I never picked up. So I'll jump right in there and grab it, kind of thing.
Right.
But it's the thrill. It creates a little bit of extra fun because it becomes the thrill of the hunt, is what I'm coming around to. Yeah. And it's like, I can't wait until that skin pops up, or I can't wait until that's there. And it also helps you keep a much, much better eye on everything that's new. There's a lot less confusion now about what skins are new, what modifiers are new, that kind of thing.
Right.
So, yeah.
There was a question above I wanted to answer. It was about the extension, actually. DevMoose asked about, have you considered making a Twitch extension with maybe the Marbles on Stream store, could allow viewers to use bits and stuff? So there's a lot of issues with that. We've had an extension in the past. What we learned is that we need a team for it. Just died off. We couldn't update it and keep up. But there's also it's against TOS. It's against their things that you can't sell tangible goods with bits.
Yeah.
So you can't conduct a purchase in an extension with bits. Don't go off what other people are doing. I'm like, if this is the rule, this is the rule. It's their platform. It's not mine. So. Yeah, so that's where that stands. We've had an idea for different shops. We had an idea, and if we get to the point we still want to do it, this is actually really cool, is that let's say the extensions allow you to send bits into the streamer, and it just promotes an engagement. But then in the game, there's a bar, and then the bits will go towards the filling the bar, and if the bar hits, to promote engagement with bits, and then provide some reward for doing that engagement that the streamer would get. So it wouldn't be even just they pay to get it.
Full pass.
We had a race pass designed. I've told you about that, right?
Yeah.
And then
you and I had a.
And then it didn't feel right. Like when was it?
We talked about that in the fall. I think it was like September, October. I think you and I talked about it a little.
Okay,
bit.
I think what I did, it was canned when we redid the shop. I think that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
We were gonna do a race pass. We're gonna redo with the redo of the app. We're gonna do a race pass for viewers, and then it literally, we were at the design point, and we were like, "This is the integration. This is the functionality we want." And then we just got to like a social discussion, and it was already a lot. And yeah, the shop and stuff like that. But like doing a race pass, it was just a weird standpoint I got to, and I was like, "Does this feel right?" And then we canned it.
Yeah, and it kind of manifested on its own, because you still have, like, you don't have a pass, but you can kind of take that season by season too and say, okay, for X amount of money, we're going to give you like this set of coins, this skin, we can do a there are, again, you've got that option right there where somebody still gets something specific to the season too. Like there's that entrance exit that pops up and says season 16,
right?
Which is really cool. That it's another one of those. It goes back to that conversation we had a long time ago, that there are certain things that are very specific. The extra life team that year, so we all got that skin as a part of that. Or you talk about the cat skin that actually only 3 people have right now, that glowing cat skin. Spooo is one of them. We actually talked about it on the podcast last night. And like those are, it gives some, it's like I was there for that season, I was there for that moment. And I think that's just a really fun add-on to that as well, that you've got that I was there moment. Like, yep, I was there. That's my season 16 badge, and keep going on from
the
there.
exclusivity, right?
Yeah, the exclusivity of it. Exactly. I started collecting the season packs. Oh, since you started playing Catechus? Nice. Doesn't Jaime have one? I'm not sure who the 3 are. I know Spooo is one of them, because Spooo loves to tell the story of how much he beat himself up to get that. So I know that Spooo is one of them. I do not know who the other 2 are, though. The blue pastel ball, he's got that one too, I think. Spoo's got that one too.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of the pastels.
Yep. He and I have had a few conversations of some of the ones that he's gotten along the way, because he was definitely ahead of me. He got in, but season 2 is when he really got going, and I didn't show up until the end of season 3. So I love talking to him about like all the stuff he did way early on to get like all these different exclusives and all that. It's like tell me a story, and I'll like sit there and I'll listen to everything he's telling me about, like his grinding days and all that. He was a maniac. Absolutely.
So here's another good, I guess, conversation that you guys can bounce off of. So, did you see the new effects that are coming in mid-season? That I showed them off the other day. Did you see a clip or anything? I
see them yet myself.
So there's a car, a train, and a plane effects, like trails.
Yeah.
That your marble sits in.
Okay.
And they're really high quality, and I was just testing them yesterday, and they cause performance issues, because when there's 1,000 of them on the track, they're super high quality. It's just more being drawn. It's a lot going on. And I have a solution. Like, we could drop it and make it look worse, but I just don't think we should.
Yeah.
But we were talking about a solution is like, what if we took those effects a little bit higher quality, and then we launched them as a limited time item that you could buy, and it would be expensive, and the idea for doing it could show high level backers. And I don't know what your opinion is on that.
Personally, if you want to treat them like opinion wise, personally on that, we definitely need a way to limit it back because of and a lot of us are seeing that now. The more marbles we get on the track, where we thought things were running fine before, now because there's more marbles, there's more physics, there's more. It's just a technical thing.
Right.
There's more that it has to keep track of. I had to, in order to keep my blacklight streams going, I ended up, as you know, upgrading my video card because I didn't want to lose that quality. Once Hedry showed me the reflections, it was all downhill from there. I'm like, I can't run at medium anymore. I want to run this at high. But what I'm coming around to is like personal opinion and Chad, I really want to hear from you on this, but I think that having a premiums like that, like a higher level, is probably the way to go to limit it back. But also, Mike, what I was going to say is maybe this is just something to chew on, but maybe once in a while make that something that can be won somehow too. Like every once in a while we'll have you can have a race, or you can and give them another means, because what happens is whenever we talk finances, and it could be a backer option too. There's so many different ways you can look at this. But when you're talking finances, it's always nice to give somebody that maybe couldn't have afforded it otherwise the opportunity to grab one once in a while, or looking at it from the other side of it too. There's so many different ways to win coins now and to earn coins. You just leave it like it is and let people try to save the coins up or earn the coins up,
right,
to get to that as well. Because that would keep, because that's another option for now that so many people have options to, where they can get their own marbles. Maybe they could take the coins that they're winning or they're earning and save up towards something like that as well.
Right.
Something that indicates, that you either, you worked for it and you earned it that way, or I was able to back the studio a little higher and, spend the coins to get it that way. Yeah. There's a few different ways. I'm trying to think on the fly here, and
It's
I'm
tough.
not being very successful with it.
Don't worry. It's I do it all the time. It's tough.
Yeah. There's so many different ways to look at it. It's tilted tourney prize. We don't, it's been said so many times now, Shens, we don't want to separate tilted from everything else. It's still part of the point system. It's still earned that way. And we just want streamers to do what they want to do with it, is the whole idea.
Was there people talking about the tilted leaderboard?
Yeah, the tilted leaderboards and all that. Yeah. You said make it a tilted prize. Now you could, if you're talking about the tilted tournament,
What Shen's asked.
You're going to get skins and trails and all that stuff out there. There needs to be certain ones that are limited. I'm starting to hear more people talk about the cowboy hat trail.
Yeah.
Because so many people run the geometry trail, myself included. Like whenever I do a tournament, I love the geometry trail, and it fits along with the theme of very few of those tournaments were done.
Right.
And now more people are like, it's really super exclusive. Maybe I could run a tournament with that. Maybe that would be a bigger draw to get that one. It becomes part of completing a set. Even if you're not super into like getting a cowboy hat on your marble, be in competition for that. I'm going to actually add a t-shirt to my merch store that says I survived standards tilting. If you've ever watched me, Shens will confirm this for you. If you've ever watched me tilt, I do everything wrong. I get excited when I reach level 14, and that's really saying something. So, if you want to go for a contest who can lose the most marbles, bring it. We're on.
I want this broken down heavily. How does it affect socially? How does it affect a stream? How is tilted different? Like how does tilted differentiate from racing? And a tilted streamer can only have 100 marbles on the track, where a racing streamer can have 1,000. There's there's a whole social dynamic to this balance that not a lot of people are taking into account, and the fact that you're not taking into account is interesting. And I think I don't even know the answer. I'm just saying it's a massive equation that I'm watching. Let it play out instead of panicking and changing it. I have thoughts on how to change Tilted. I don't think just buffing races is a solution. If Tilted's because Tilted's not even fully designed yet. It's not even done in game mode.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've iterated on it like twice. But I think there's just more to the dynamic than just saying, "Oh, racers get more points in Tilted, win." Right? Like what happens if I make it 5 races every rotation? Does it still equal the same? Is the 1 to 15 as strong as the 1 to 20?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Can you actively see a difference between energy returns on tiers and on tiers on Tilted and races? Mike, didn't you say to me, see, and I'm not super familiar with this end of it because I don't focus a lot on the points and all that, but didn't you tell me at one point, like at the beginning, like more towards the beginning of the season, it's tilted, it's favored towards Tilted, and then as people start to get their rolling bonuses, things like that.
So once you have your rolling day bonus as a streamer, you're starting to scale your per race XP. So everybody, I call it the week 1 jitters now, is what I call it. Week 1, everybody panics. Oh my God, I can't keep up. I'm playing so much and I can't do it. And races, Tilted's beating me. This guy's beating me. This person's beating me. They got more hours. Like there's a million different complaints that come in. Now we've been doing it for 16 seasons. Like you see it, and once you start realizing it, guys, it's the week 1 jitters. Chill out. Like just let it settle. But yeah, that's the problem. Is people perceive they have the rolling day bonus at the end of the season, then 3 days later, the per race XP is way down.
Yeah.
What's happening? Right? Because there's nothing explained. Like I'm not blaming the person for not knowing. Like. There's nothing saying, "Oh, your thing is down, so you don't notice it."
Yeah.
Your rolling day bonus.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Did Spooo show up? Is Spooo here? Hi, Spooo.
So Amundsen, I think that's an interesting dynamic. A decent tilter will give at least 3 times the viewer points as a streamer doing races. So you just said a decent tilter. What's a decent tilter? How long does a tilter need to play to become decent? I think this has a big impact on the equation.
Something that I found very telling when it comes to tilted versus racing, for people in my community know that for a while what I was doing is we get down to about last hour and a half of the stream and I'd switch over to tilted, not because of points, but because I thought it was entertaining to let everybody watch me screw up over and over and over again. That was the whole idea behind it, because I suck at tilted. What I started doing though, and I guess it speaks to the dynamics of the community of the individual streamer, but what I started doing is that we'd get to about that time and I'd throw a vote up and I'd say, let me know, do you want to keep running races? Because what we do now is, of course, we switch over to Mike, all of your tracks. We do pixel races for like the last hour and a half.
Right.
And every single time I put a vote up, they wanted me to keep racing. And that's including votes from our grinders, from our pro marblers, by the way. They didn't want me to switch over to tilted. They wanted me to keep racing. They wanted to be there for
you've built your community on racing.
Yeah.
You've built that, and there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with being only a racer. And this is another thing, is like if you look at the leaderboard of streamers, it's mixed. It's not like it's all tilters.
Yeah,
it's mixed.
No, it is not.
When it is all tilters, I think there's an interesting conversation to be had. On the viewer side, I think you still need both to be competitive, because it's all about the meta and how fast you can get your points up.
Yeah.
So if you don't have enough tilters, you're gonna go to racing. But the idea of like the energy stopping somebody playing your stream, I think that's a conversation to be had as well. It's like if you're if you don't understand the dynamic of Twitch, of how an average viewer watches Twitch for an hour and a half, and yeah, Marbles might scale it to five on average for some people.
Yeah.
If you don't break that down and kind of understand that, thinking that somebody is going to not hang out with you because of an energy thing. If somebody's leaving because of energy, they're a cranker, right? But if somebody's actually enjoying your content, they're going to hang out. Whether they're there for 5 races, but then they watch. And like to break the difference of going, oh, I only have 50 racers, but I have 100 viewers, and go and think of those 50 that aren't playing with you not there.
Yeah.
I think that's a bad habit. And thinking that just the logic of like, oh, somebody's leaving because they hit 35. Thank them for being there for 35. Like, that's awesome. 35 for me is a couple hours.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's still like I do 35 races maybe a little bit better in an entire stream, you know, and that's going like 5 to 7. But you make a great point there that the average person is there with you. Like, don't get me wrong, you've got people. Marbler viewers are incredibly dedicated. I see it in my own statistics, you know, and they'll hang out. And I even have, and I'm very grateful for this, by the way, I even have, like, speaking of grinders and pro marblers, they'll continue to hang out with me even though they stop dropping marbles in the races. And they'll tell me, they're like, hey man, I'm still here. I want to hang out with you, but I just want to let you know I'm going to stop because I'm worried we're not going to hit the next tier. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. But if you get, you know, by the time you're getting up to 10, 20 races, like, again, I completely agree with you, Mike. People are glued to the idea that people are there with them constantly.
Right.
And they're not. Like, if you're doing a 5 to 7 hour stream, just to use that as an example, and there's a lot of Marble streamers that go longer than that, they're getting up, they're going to the bathroom, they're doing things with their kids, they're whatever is going on in their house. They're not there with you all the time.
Right.
So they're going to be in and out. Actually, something that I've noticed, by the way, like I always talk about my average viewership, I'm starting to get some reports now as my channel is growing, as I'm actually getting like more and more concurrent viewers, where that average is going down. Now it was like between 4.5. Now it's like 2.5. And I see that as a good sign because we're bringing in more new people to the channels. And overall, my concurrent viewership is still climbing up. And what that says is it's not necessarily the length of time that one individual is with you. You kind of have to let that go. It's more about, you know, being entertaining for multiple people. Your community is much bigger than your concurrent viewership.
Yeah.
If you have 100 concurrent viewers in your stream, let's say, and I'm just using that as an example because it's easy math, you actually have a community that's rotating through and visiting. You know, you might have had 600, 700, 800, even up to 1,000 or better people in and out of your stream all day. That's how many people you've actually entertained. That's actually how many people you've actually interacted with in some form or fashion. It's how many people are consistently with you,
right,
that you're looking at. And because we have a tendency to focus on that particular number, when somebody leaves, streamers have a tendency to go,
right.
And that's not the way it is. That's not the way it is.
There's a high rotation.
Yeah. Yeah. And once you relax into that a little bit and realize that that's a lot to do with that. That's got a lot, and I mean a lot to do with that. That you just have to remember that there's always a rotation. Again, it's not the same people with you from start to finish. It never is. Yeah. It never is.
I got a question. Is there a plan to expand the number of races in Grand Prix? So like move from 16 to 20 so that it can be structured for an energy returns? Why not? Mm-hmm. What's wrong with going to 15 or 10? It's all there for you. There's no need to crank it up to 20.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Hedri. See, I think we should have a big serious discussion around all these points about energy on Discord. Mm-hmm. So Discord's open for suggestions all the time, Hedri. Nobody brings the suggestions or writes it out and thinks it out. There's always, these are the complaints. Energy's bad. I don't like the system. And it's like, what is the system doing that you truly don't like and believe it's impacting your channel negatively and your community negatively? because if that's happening, you would see that in your numbers, and you'd be able to pitch this whole problem and wrap it up into a nice little package and say, this is why it doesn't work. But we don't get that. We get, I don't like it, but people play it, and I think it's a strong structure. Like, I think this system is a very strong structure. It's not liked because it's so powerful.
Mm-hmm. And Catechist, just a quick answer to your question. I'm sorry, I missed it. You tagged me 40 minutes ago, 50 minutes ago, but no. To answer, I just want to answer that question real quick. No, when I'm doing those classes, they do not cost. They are open to everybody. They're going to be open to the entire community. I do not charge for those. I don't know if there will ever be a time when I charge to teach necessarily. I feel like the community supports, I'm going to just speak about myself here for just a second because I'm running the class, but I feel like the community supports me so well already. And I'm such a big believer in being as a streamer that you have to put value forward and then people will support you, that yeah, I don't think I'd ever want to hide that behind a paywall. The only thing I've ever considered doing, there are places on the web where you can build like a set of classes and charge a minimal amount for them. So like if you want to go from zero, like I see a lot of people do that from like zero to streaming kind of thing, like the class that Twidget does. Or if you want me to put together a package of my advanced techniques, like if you want to learn like all the different kaleidoscope tricks that I use, things like that, I might do something like that. Because that's a very specific skill set that I've actually developed from the ground up. But for a lot of this other stuff, it's just information that needs to be repeated to those that I'm teaching over and over and over again until they start to grasp the idea that, yeah, they need to be out there on social media. Yeah, they need to have a consistent schedule with their streaming. Yes, their community needs to know what to expect when they come to their channel, things like that. No, that is always, my intention right now is to always keep that free, because I want to help as many people as possible, because I get a lot of support from this community. A lot of this is returning that and returning that love. So
hell yeah. Imagine, and that's it. Like what happens when you have 100 people per class?
Yeah.
Like, how do you manage that? And how do you give the flow for those people, right? And then if it becomes, we need to run more classes, then there does need to be financials, because the teachers need to be there to teach.
Right. Yeah. And that's just it. There's a possibility, and I would love it. Like from Catechist, I'll take this one more step, because we've been talking about, since we're talking about classes and all that, very long-term plan for me. All right, is to do for this community. All right, do podcasts and teaching all the time. That is something that I really want to do. And if it got to that stage, if I'm doing it all the time, and that means that I'm not streaming as many races, or I'm not streaming other things as a result that financially support, like Mike just said, when it starts getting to that level of craziness, then you have to reevaluate. But by that point, if you've actually made you know, 4 to 8 classes a month. I mean, that's asking for a sub for something like that isn't asking very much.
Well, like there's so many crazy things with classes, the way that you could do it. Like with streaming, information's always changing and evolving, right?
Yeah.
And so like, let's say you ran, for example, where we have the classes running, the next run's going to be on the 26th. And get people out of it and rotate through people really quick, so that we can create that rotation of streamers coming in and out. And then what happens, my theory is that those streamers who have gone through the class know that the content they've received is trustworthy, because they've used it to go into streaming, is that they'll be able to come back anytime and go back through those through the process, or maybe jump into a class that is like, oh, yo, the framework changed, there's new content, and they'll always be able to come back as long as they've maintained the sub. And I think that's a cool element to these classes, is that there's the continuity of information, and you can always come back and get refreshed with the new stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be really cool.
The classrooms are definitely something I'd like to get more involved in if you can. And Tim, you've got a very specific skill set that can be used. And that's just it. As these things evolved, and Tim, you and I had a direct conversation about this, so I'll address you really quickly directly. There's, as these things evolve, and we're going to be able to bring more people in or help people along the way, then we're going to be able to do that. So many questions, really good spot to teach this, because I'm in the thick of it. I'm in the thick of the battle, and I carry a slightly different attitude towards certain aspects of Twitch that I am actually doing better by not focusing on certain things that a lot of streamers will put right in front of their face, that I'm not going to get into right now. But the point is that, again, like this is information I can share. This is knowledge that I can share because, again, of where I'm at. I'm not a partner. I'm a big affiliate. And there's a big difference in how you have to handle things that way. It's in some ways you haven't gotten at what a lot of people perceive as that big prize yet, but at the same time, it leaves you an awful lot of freedom to do a lot of different things and to build something really truly to scale that goes well beyond like Twitch partnership or any partnership you can achieve. And so again, being in that position, it's a great time to be. Months ago, why did I stop again? And there's a lot of different things that you have to do as you continue to grow to keep growing. And
you have to, yeah. You're going to constantly hit those plateaus in business, in your streaming. It's just constant, and it's where you get comfortable. It's when you get comfortable, right? You start doing your thing, you change, and then it's like you get comfortable, and you're less excited about it. So everybody's less excited about it, and then you've grown your community, though. You've done a good job, but you can't get down on yourself because you've plateaued. That doesn't mean bad. That just means, all right, time to maybe settle and start thinking again of what's the next step for you in your business and your career. Like, what's that next thing you're going to chase, right?
Yeah.
And that's what pushes you and pushes your content.
As a plateau is as simple as you forgot. Something was working so well that you stopped doing it.
Right.
It's like using myself as the example again, like for a while I was really ignoring my social media again. Like I really wasn't getting out there. You and I talked about that. I really wasn't getting out there the way I should be. And that was not helping me at all. So I switched around and did that. And I know that with you being more active on social media as well, like what we were talking about this again before the stream, like how that gels and how that circles everything. People need to be able to find you on demand.
Conversation when you get back on stream, and after a bunch of rotations of that, it feels like a healthier environment because the conversations have never stopped.
Yeah.
Just because you go offline, it doesn't mean bye, guys. Like it's just this form of communication's over. We're going this way for 12 hours or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, and I love those little moments too. Like, hey, I saw your post on Twitter, or hey, I just watched your YouTube video and wanted to say thank you. That helped. Or, there's so much content that we're all pumping out now. The podcast that we're in the middle of right now. I've got my podcast going. I'm gonna make sure I post the classes to YouTube as well, so that again, it's putting the same content more places, so more people can see it. And it's again, it just continues to circulate. And not only that, but the great thing about social media, things like Twitter and all that, is not only does it help you continue the conversation, but it helps you add to it.
Right.
One of the best pieces of advice I was ever given was make sure that you don't just use your social media to highlight the things that happen on stream, but also use it to add to, do those goofy, fun little things, whether they're Snapchat videos or you're musing on some little topic that struck you that day, or, there's so many different avenues. Hobby they have, things like that. There's so many different ways to continue, add to things like that, and it's something that I'm only, like, within the last few months I'm only coming around to myself. But yeah, again, you're when you're everywhere, when you're all over the place,
Could probably keep going, but I think we should trim it.
Yeah.
For the sake of podcast terms here.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's been a pleasure. It's been awesome.
Yeah.
As
This
always.
was a fun one.
Yeah.
This was.
Go ahead.
I was just going to repeat what I said before. So no, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, guys. So in a half an hour, we got Community Day, and
Yeah.
so we'll see you guys in a half an hour. Spoo's got the second half of Community Day.
Mm-hmm.
And Jamie, what do you got going on today?
Today is the arcade day that I've been promising the community. So we're going to be running. It's still Chat Interactive Gaming, everybody, but we're doing things. We're going to grab a couple other games. One has gone viral, and so many of you asked me for Clone Drone. We'll be playing Clone Drone more into the evening, more like towards the second half of the stream. So, but I'm starting at 3 p.m. just like I always do. So
awesome. Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you next time here at the podcast or in a half an hour at Community Day.
All right.
Take care.